Emerald Triangle, the sun-grown mecca of California. Historic farms, legendary farmers, iconic strains. This place is the heartbeat of cannabis culture, and we're here to pay homage. 16 days, no time to waste. We're going deep to the farms, to the roots, and straight to the people who built it all.
Hey Nat, we are so excited to come to the farm where all the breeding happens.
Yeah, can't wait, fam. We just grew the Cali Octane and the Orange King Pop, both flame. We're super pumped to see where the magic happens and check out the breeding fields. Can't wait to see ya.
Can't wait to see it.
These farms aren't just farms. They're histories, cultures, and stories that have defined cannabis. We're here to dig it up, bring it back home, and let you in on the secret. Each stop we made had to be deep in the triangle, and I brought it to the crew, the AC Infinity and After Dark crew, ready to document every moment and get the real story. We're here to bring back the knowledge, take it back to our tent, and put it to work. This isn't just about what grows here. It's about what this place built. We're here to uncover the secrets, track down the strains, and bring back what makes this land truly legendary. Welcome to the Emerald Triangle. Let's go. We are in Humboldt right now in the northern section of the Emerald Triangle, and we're going to be making a full adventure from north, going south, and checking out about 7 different farms along the way, guys. It's going to be a packed one. We've got super motherfucking high. Day one. Everyone get fueled up.
Put it in, guys.
Day one. Get in here, JQ. Jorge. Let's go. Yerba mate. 3, 2, 1. Yerba mate!
Our first stop on the trip is Humboldt Seed Company's main breeding farm, also known as the Anchor Farm. This is Nat's farm and where he's been doing the growing and breeding for decades. And we've grown some of these strains at home in our tent that have came directly out of these breeding grounds. So it was super special for us to be able to go there and learn how it's done from the man himself.
Welcome to Humboldt Seed Company's Anchor Farm in Northeast Humboldt. We've got our Pheno Hunt Tour group here today. We also put together a nice little tasting bar of both like local fruits and vegetables that we've grown, and then of course some amazing dabs.
Yeah, so when we heard everybody was coming, first thought is like, well, what are we gonna smoke? And so reached out to a lot of our collaborative farms, just friends. So we have stuff from Earl Hill. We got a bunch of the different Pheno winners from last year that they washed into fresh frozen rosin. And some classics like Blueberry Muffin, Granny Candy was there, the new chicken and waffles. Yep. And then we have stuff from the Ridge Boys, which is down in Grass Valley area. They work close with our friends at Wildleaf, and they do a lot of the fresh frozen extract from their fields. So we got a lot of the samples back from last year's Pheno Hunt as well. Friends from Humboldt Fungi, Chris really hooked it up with some of his new mushroom crosses.
I'd be down, but maybe not too early. Oh, whoa, breaking the seal.
Sure.
Just kidding. That are now legal in California.
No one hosts like these guys do. We show up homegrown melon.
Yeah.
Puff goes in extract.
There you go.
There you go.
Really?
There you
I
go.
can have this one? Ooh.
Wow.
This thing is so dope. I've never had a puff though before.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, this is my first
sick.
one. So thank you.
Erie glass tops.
Erie glass tops.
I've never felt so welcome in a place in my whole life. This is amazing.
Round of applause for day one.
Let's go, day one.
Day one!
All right, welcome Pheno Hunters.
Woo!
We wanted to just go over sort of the nuts and bolts of our Pheno hunting process. We really just want you to focus on the ones that speak to you.
A phenotype is the outward expression of a plant. A genotype is the genetic information that you get when you sequence a plant. And then you also have the chemotype. That is the chemical constituents of the plant. When you have all of those things combined together in a great plant, we call it a dreamotype. Dad joke there. Sorry.
So this is the Pheno Hunt rating short form. There are a bunch of different variables on here. Smell strength, is it really, really strong? Trichome density, how frosty is it? Plant vigor is really self-explanatory. Then we also have disease resistance. Yeah. Disease resistance is a little tricky, but you're gonna see diseased plants out there.
And aphids and things like that too. You'll see one plant in a variety will have will be more susceptible to aphids or spider mites. Powdery mildew is a great one.
Plant structure, that's a little bit subjective. Flower color, purple to green.
When you're pheno hunting, the more plants that you look at, the more likely you are to find the unicorns of the cannabis genome.
And it's always good to put notes too at the side of the column if you find something unique that you really like, because that helps kind of help it stand out.
In 2018, we did the first 10,000 plant pheno hunt that we were aware of in the world. You know, I think we were kind of pioneering massive pheno hunting.
And one of the biggest things to remember is there is no wrong answers to any of this, because it is extremely subjective. It's about your senses, your eyes, your nose, and how you resonate with the plant. So that's like one of the most interesting aspects of it for me, is that you really see who gravitates towards what plant.
You know, this is obviously a breeding farm, so our very first and foremost priority is breeding.
Feel like I'm at Willy Wonka factory for cannabis. I just can't wait to see the magic, you know what I mean? I'm pumped up.
Once Nat was handing out the binders and kind of showing us like what we were going to be looking for in all the phenos, it makes sense to put that on some type of scale. So it was really cool to see their processes and how they choose their flowers. We didn't really know what we were getting into. I didn't really know what pheno hunting was. Like I kind of, you know, knew the gist of it. We're looking for flowers, but I didn't understand the depth of it, and I have a whole new appreciation for it.
Pheno hunting is all about finding that plant with that standout trait, and Nat has mastered this process.
There's a monster down here.
By collaborating with farms across the Emerald Triangle, like the ones you're going to see in this video, Nat and his team searched through thousands of plants to find the perfect phenotypes.
We may or may not have a surprise for Nat in just 1 second.
On our way to the fields is when it was time to show Nat the special surprise we brought to the journey.
Last night, we got our badges loaded on. Everyone's got their hunter's vest. Huge shout out to Nat from the Humboldt Seed Company.
The hunter's vest.
So literally, this whole thing of wearing vest is because of Nat. The first time seeing him online in his pheno hunts, he set a trend, and we're making it a thing.
You got it.
Right here, it was Nat that I asked Nat if I could try on his vest.
Yeah.
From the first video I seen with Nat wearing the vest, I thought it was the most epic thing we had ever seen, and it was actually quite useful.
Yeah.
So as a tribute to the legends that you guys are, we decided to follow suit, make this a thing, and we all showed up with our vests.
I love it.
And we're ready to rock.
I love it. You know what they say, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery.
It all started right here with this guy. So,
and I just realized it was kind of like super nerdy, but I just leaned into candy. And this was bred about a month and a half ago. 2/3 of this chamber is our selected Granny Candy clone, and then 1/3 of the chamber are Granny Candy seeds.
So cool.
This is the clone that we selected 2 years ago of Granny Candy. That Luke at Terp Mansion is in love with this one. He's doing a ton of this. This is just a seed of Granny Candy. And so you can see we're doing pretty well with like making homozygous lines or uniform lines.
Yeah, they look good.
Crazy times, can't you feel it? Is there a reason for it all?
Feel that?
Maybe.
It's all pumped. You see that? You like that man juice?
This man juice I love.
You know, the plants look rough because it's a rough process. Reversing the plant's sex is not what it's used to doing. So we use silver, and the silver, the plant has reactions to it sometimes, but the most important reaction is that it builds out a bunch of male organs, and these are anthers that you see here. These anthers are pretty full of blueberry muffin pollen right there.
Yeah, this one is great.
Wow, that smells really good.
Oh, see, it's not even quite ready to harvest yet.
Yeah, this one here is definitely one of my favorites.
We're hunting together, but it still feels like such a personal experience.
Really, 2/3 of this chamber is our selected Granny Candy clone.
This is the Granny Candy I want at home. They're so even and beautiful. definitely one of my favorite strains of the year.
Nat was the first breeder that ever truly introduced me to real pheno hunting.
The density of it, it's got a little give, so we only gave it a 7. Purple, it's a really purple one, so we gave it a 9. And it's pretty darn frosty, so we gave it a 9.
Yeah.
So that's a little insight on our process when we're actually breeding. Like, most of this chamber is clones, and we know what that outcome, but it's also to actually advance a strain further down the line of zygosity or uniformity or purebred, you need to be doing seed to seed to seed to seed. That's the only way to do that, actually. So,
but what was the most important stage of this whole thing?
As we rate them and some winners start to emerge, then oftentimes, we'll circle back, harvest them, the ones that have really been rated the highest by the most people. Like last year, Hallie drove back down to Sonoma Hills, got all the winners, then goes back to the Wild Leaf and all these different places, and we get those winners when they're ready to harvest, and then keep branches from each plant, and testing and smoking is like the final and often most important part of narrowing things down.
Okay. Oh wow. Ooh.
Right?
Yeah. These will get huge, not just popcorn, but huge.
Bud. Yeah, really good aroma. Like that lemon cake. I think I got a crazy winner over here. I think so, dude.
What is it? Donor is the donuts, right?
no, what does it say? NF67?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
bud.
So when you get to the NF67, it's a whole different thing.
Wow.
This is what I was saying, like, I got lemon cake out of it.
Yeah, I'm picking up lemon cake too.
Yeah, that number.
Yeah, lemon cake. I got my 215, if you know what I mean. I said I'm growing more weed than you ever seen. The cops can't say shit, because my script's legit, so I'll light up my pipe and I'll take a big hit.
After a good day's hunt, it was time for some grub. We went with Nat and picked some veggies we'd be eating over the next few days, along with some trays of veggies that were going to be going to the Yurok tribe. Meet Sammy, director of the organization called Ancestral Guard.
The vitality of human health is tied to the health of our ecosystems and communities. It is crucial that we address agriculture's impacts on our waterways.
Tonight, the tribes that rely on California's second largest river are fighting for the future of their food supply.
We know that the dams on the Klamath River have been slowly poisoning our people for over 100 years.
A group dedicated to protecting the families living within the territories of their ancestors.
For the next generation to live on a healthy, dam-free river.
Ayakui, Nikna John Gensa, Rekoi Metchak, Kapayak.
Salmon, which used to be plentiful, are now vulnerable, and an ambitious plan that will result in the largest dam removal in U.S. history could save their food supply.
And that meant removing dams and bringing farming back to the community.
I know everybody's familiar with the mic drop, but I'd like to introduce the dam drop. Thank you. Focus on dam removal, indigenous reciprocity building, and most importantly, food security and food sovereignty within our ancestral territory. And that kind of was a special linking point between Natty P and myself too, because that's something we both have in common, is our love for food and our love for gardening and plants. This collaboration between fishermen and farmers allows us to provide services to families in a wholesome package. So not only can we provide salmon for families, now we can also provide vegetables to go along with that. And kind of building healthy opportunities for our people is something that we find common ground on. And especially being a part of a river community, whether you're farming or whether you're fishing or just living, one thing that everybody becomes accustomed to is that we have a responsibility to take care of this place so we can continue to live a good life and live this lifestyle that we all enjoy. And if we don't come together and try to create solutions, then we will always face the same problems again and again. Like never before, we're creating a collaboration between fishermen and farmers to produce for the people of the community.
People are always amazed that we, with the Undam the Klamath, accomplished the world's largest river restoration project, the world's largest dam removal project.
The largest dam removal project in the nation's history, which came as part of a national movement to return rivers to their natural flow. The Klamath River dam removal was completed, marking a major victory for the local tribes.
hundreds of people that came together. But that amazing activism that came together to fix rivers here, we actually did take that message around the world. In 2014, we went to the Amazon.
We've had youth go all the way to Chile. We've had youth go to Canada, all across the United States, and help set up cultural exchanges to identify communities that are facing the same problems that we're facing. We've sacrificed so much to be standing along the banks of an undammed Klamath. And the fight has just begun, because now the focus is on restoration and making sure that our people can live out these healthy opportunities in a space that continues to provide.
You guys are now for the first time on an undammed Klamath River. I don't know if Nat told you guys, but yeah, just years and generations of fighting. And so now you guys will be able to eat fish from the undammed Klamath River, and it'll be the first time, one of the first times we've had the ability to cook fish for a group on an undammed river too.
So this is like...
On behalf of the team from AC Infinity, we heard about what you guys are doing for your community and all across the nation. And we'd like to present you guys with some gear to help you guys along with your journey.
These kits are going to be great for growing microgreens or whatever you guys like. We got fans, lights that are controllable with plenty of power to completely flower out this thing. We have exhaust fans, filters for air purifying if you want to cut down on the smells or anything. All the ducting, germination domes.
So this is going to change the way that we look at food security and change the way that we kind of look at winter growing for people.
Oh my God. So not only do they show us some of the most amazing flowers and be some of the most amazing hosts you ever see, they feed us like kings. This is salmon right here from the Klamath. Some of them first after it got undammed, so it's feasting time after all these doobies and getting nourished up, bro.
As we say goodbye to Nat's farm, we're leaving here with more than knowledge. We're taking with us a sense of true connection to the Triangle and its people. Nat welcomed us into his world, where we learned about the roots of this place, the wisdom of the Yurok tribe, and the craft of breeding that becomes a life work of his in this little cabin here up on the hill. From his rugged vest to his unique tools.
Forceps. You gotta have forceps.
And yes, even motorboating my melons for a laugh. Nat is a true legend.
Our next stop, Garberville. We are going to meet up with Jason from Ridgeline Farms.
And on our way, we got to take a little detour through the Avenue of Giants to check out the redwoods. We didn't have much time to explore, but don't worry, we'll get to check that out later. Cannabis cultivation in the Garberville area dates back to the 1970s and 1980s. During this period, small family-run farms started growing high-quality cannabis, and due to its remote location, it helped those early farmers avoid detection from law enforcement. Garberville itself became a key service area for the marijuana hub trade.
It was time to meet the next legend, Jason from Ridgeline Farms.
When legends meet right here, dude, this is fucking dope.
I'm ready to go to Columbia still.
Oh, we're getting going, man. You're
going. We hit a local diner and got some of the history of this town. You see, Garberville has historically been considered a central hub within the Emerald Triangle for cannabis cultivation. This town's unique reputation for high-quality cannabis, the region's ideal growing conditions, combined with a strong community of growers, solidified its status in the cannabis industry. With so much reputation and history around this small town, we had to visit, and no one better to show us around than Jason Gilman.
We're gonna go to one of the all-time legends of Southern Humboldt, Johnny Casale's farm, Huckleberry Hill Farms. He was one of the biggest busts ever to come out of here in my childhood. Like, I'll never forget it. As you will know when you hear him talk, he's emotionally invested. You know, his mom is the one that a lot of these strains came from. Taught, like, as you know, my dad taught me weed. Well, his mom taught him how to grow weed. She gave him these strains, which now he's, you know, crossed or evolved into. You know, he has this one, the White Thorn Rose, which is literally clean. I think he won 10 awards at the Emerald Cup. Wow. Multiple first places. I mean, it's amazing.
Hold me quick, I think we might have one behind. What's that, brother?
Where are we going, man?
I'm gonna send you my live location right now. You guys aren't far behind. We just pulled over. We thought we had everyone.
Yeah. When I was 24, I had 30 federal agents drive up my driveway. Never been in any trouble before. And long story short, went to court for over 4 years and was sentenced to a mandatory minimum, which was my bracket was 10 years to life in prison, and got 10 years.
We got a winner.
It's been the savior for our farm, and with that now, you know, we did a cross together, right? You know, Lance crossed with Whitethorn Rose and just did a test wash, and it was 6.4% to wash.
Damn!
And this is where I grew up on, so I've been here for 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so Whitethorn Rose really was created from a strain I used to grow with my mom when I was 10, right? She passed away when I was in jail.
Yeah.
When I was 24, I had 30 federal agents drive up my driveway. Never been in any trouble before. And long story short, went to court for over 4 years and was sentenced to a mandatory minimum, which was my bracket was 10 years to life in prison, and got 10 years.
He was the biggest bust of my childhood, and like it was a huge story in this little town, you know. Everybody watched all of his hearings. And so when he went away, it was just such a big thing, and it really affected all of us, you know.
We're here at Ridgeline Farms, where the view is almost as good as the weed. Almost. Jason really focused on sustainability and producing some award-winning strains on this farm. So let's go have a look.
This approach combines the best of both indoor and outdoor growing methods to produce some of the finest cannabis in the world.
The best of both worlds, would you say, Jason, when you get a little mix of this? Wow, dude.
The bud consistency and terpenes on these plants was unreal. Time was short and the main event still had yet to begin, and so we set off for Ridgeline Farms.
Perfect. It's kind of cool. You're actually going to get to see it in this form, and then you're going to see it at my house in the sun-grown form.
These are probably the most beautiful flowers.
Oh, I love hearing that. Why I bought this farm with my partner there was so I could have some mixed light. I've been growing sun-grown my whole life, but there's something about the terps that come out here. I could not. I fucking tried, I cannot get the same terps out of sun-grown.
Ridgeline is amazing. The mixed light is by far the most impressive stuff that we've seen so far. Just looking at all the strains, the Lance.
Blueberry Caviar.
Blueberry Caviar, just amazing. By far the best flowers. Jason's doing it right. He's definitely onto something here with the mixed.
We're gonna take this cut here. This is the Blackberry Caviar. This is probably going to be a winner in the upcoming Emerald Cup, and Eric Nugshot is going to take a video photo of this, stack it. You're going to see how beautiful this girl is in person. So legendary Lance.
I don't give a shit how pretty a plant looks.
100%.
At the end of the day, when you smoke it, if it doesn't have that flavor, to me, it's just a waste of time. It doesn't make you feel good. It's a waste of fucking time. It's just not what I'm trying to do. I want to, you know, produce something that's going to blow your mind, you know, the look, the smell, but the taste, the high. It's got to have the full package. And, you know, we grew it that year and it looked amazing. And I didn't know what it was going to be like. And we tried it and rolled it up. And just like, you know, I think one of the ladies that was with you, what'd she say?
This thing tastes better than anything I've ever smoked in my entire life.
When I blew that out, I said, oh my God, there it is. That's the winner. All those seeds, though, came from my dad's. So, you know, me and him did that old school way. We took that male Lance pollen, took it onto the female, or onto all the female strains, just the old school way. And we came out with all these seeds. We popped them. We had to go through, get out the males, you know, and picked out the females and grew them up. And it was a gnarly process, but it's just so fun. It's like, now that I'm finally have the trust from the community, from the consumers, when it finally hit me and realized, you know, this is my art. It's the one I like. But I mean, that's just like beautiful.
And this is one of the ones that you have that's just sitting by.
I have seeds, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, look at that shit. Down like that, you see it? It says those and those.
Oh yeah, and he's looking up. There's his lips.
Yeah. So let's I don't want to rush you, but before all the sun's gone.
Yeah, what do you want to do?
You got to roll weed.
Our time at Jason's was brief but unforgettable. His weed, best I ever seen. His passion, his friendship, his community.
Whatever it is, a lot of good shit's happened for me, and I feel like I really owe the community a lot, you know. And like I said, just by representing Humboldt, by having you guys come here and be able to put Humboldt's name, help put Humboldt's name, keep it on the map. Yeah. A lot of people are using the name Humboldt that have nothing to do with Humboldt. Don't give a fuck about Humboldt. But the real farmers, they're getting left out, you know, and it's like, that's what I am. I'm just a fucking farmer, dude. That's it.
Yeah,
you know?
there's farmers that are growing just as good, if not way better weed all over this place that I know.
But they don't get any love. We were sitting in the back row and stoned as fuck, totally just fucking stoned out watching the award ceremony. And they had the Willie Nelson Award. And then they had a little blip where all of a sudden it showed, you know, Ridgeline Farms first place Green Lantern.
Oh my God.
And dude, all of a sudden everybody ran up to me. They're like, dude, I think you won, I think you won. And I mean, I'm an outlaw. Never once been on fucking in front of a camera, said I grow weed. Dude, mouth dried up, and water, panic attack. Next thing you know, cameras were everywhere. And it was just like that. All of a sudden we were in the fucking game, we were doing it, and it was scary as fuck.
There was just one thing I hated about Jace. It was that there wasn't enough sunlight.
We said our goodbyes to Johnny and Jason in Garberville, but this journey was far from over. Our next stop, Mendocino County, home of the inspiring legends who mix their dope farming with their dope music.
Mendocino County is like no other place. We are unique. You know, to drive through town, roll your window down, you can smell pot everywhere, and you as you drive through town. That would just be
This Mendo dope, and we rollin' too deep. Use my tongue to pick pieces of shrooms from my teeth. Home of the red tail, drink it from the tap. Pack of aromatics and a $40 sack.
We definitely had the most fun in this house, but we'll get to that later because this morning we were off to see Mendo Dope.
So here we are at the Mendo Dope Boys here today. Love it. Nat, what's some of the plans that we got running today?
Pheno hunting with Mendo Dope Boys. We got a bunch of their genetics here, some Humboldt Seed Company genetics here.
Learned how to grow up in the hills. My community was ran on weed, that's how we paid the bills. Learned how to trim, then hit the field. Germinated my first seed and then I leveled up my skills. Learned how to hustle from these older cats, cause I was just a youngin' making money off of Doja sacks. Learn about the healing from this ganja plant, from OGs that I grew up on like Eddie Lepa, Ganja Mac. Learn about this breeding game from Sub. Learn about all this life down in the soil, in the holes I dug. No tillin', yeah, I learned from Minnesota Nice. And Frenchie taught me how to collect resin in the ice.
The hunt with the Mendo Dope Boys was top-notch. This farm was packed with gorgeous organic sun-grown buds.
Gorgeous, stacking, frost sponsors, syrup flavors, dude.
Really?
Pistachio?
Yeah, pistachio gazerpal.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like 7 of these. It starts at the tip of the try, and then it goes down this way.
It's just like, look at this one versus this one.
And seeing the Blueberry Muffin Pina Pheno was something special.
Check this out, Joe.
Which one is this?
So you've grown the Blueberry Muffin.
Yeah, it's part of this.
Here's the Pina Pheno.
Oh, let's go.
Right? Pina, right?
Big time.
Total pineapple, bro.
Oh my fuck, dude.
So this strain was single-handedly the reason, I think a big part in why we're even here. This is the reason I met Ben and the Humboldt Seed Company. I tried it at a cannabis cup, ran right over there, introduced myself to him. And every single time I see it, I fall back in love with it. And now to come to the Mendo Dope Boys and see they found a special pheno that sits with them, and it's the pineapple-leaning pheno. And then watching the content, to see this on YouTube, to hear them talking about the pina cut, this and that, and you get this image built up in your mind, then you come here and you see it, and it's like everything you would have hoped for and a little bit more on this, dude. It's fucking beautiful.
Holds up.
But the strain that stood out the most was the Hetty's OG. I couldn't even imagine growing this in my own AC Infinity setup. Because of brands like Tangled Roots and Mendo Dope's website, I now actually can.
That's good, dude. Pack that up and fucking send her to Colombia, dude. That thing is delicious.
It's like...
Really curious about, this is all the Hetties here?
Yes, this is.
Can you give us a little history on the Hetties, how this came to be? Because this was the Emerald Cup last one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how did this come to be?
Well, to take it back, a few years ago, one of our good friends of ours passed away. After he had passed away, he had a garden growing at his house, and his parents wanted us to come check out the garden and see how it was doing, see when they would be ready to harvest and everything. So about a week or maybe 2 goes by, and they call us back and they say that the garden got raided. So we came through, checked stuff out, helped him out a bit, and then we were looking through the plants, and in that greenhouse, that special plant that Brian saw, it was snipped down to the stem where there was only 2 branches with buds left on it. No way. And we're like, man, this thing is so special.
This is why we grow, and this is why we grow.
First off, I don't support corporations. I'm a local Mendo farmer growing my personal medication.
It all feeds each other, yeah. As the more we grow and the more, we get to enjoy different flavors, and it inspires different things in our minds, and just gets real creative out here for sure. It's in our zone, this is it's so perfect for us because we love growing, we love music, so to bring our studio into the garden was so dope, and it's just okay, this is where it's at right here.
Strictly cannabis culture music.
Catered towards the ganja farming community, the patients, the plant, the people that are about this plant, this culture that we live in.
So quick to have us pill popping. It's a money scheme. They don't want us using green. They don't get no cut off someone selling dank to you and me. I know I'm brutally honest, but I keep it real, saying chemicals kill and cannabis heals. That's why we grow.
And this is why we grow. Why we grow. Why we grow. Why we grow. Stinging out on why we grow. Why we grow. This is why we grow.
After a morning of pheno hunting, it was time for lunch.
All vegan, brother.
Wow.
Everything's all vegan.
You're a beauty, brother. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Delicious. Thank you
Good
so
weed,
much.
good food.
Exactly.
Wow. Got bread toasted for the jackfruit sandwiches. There's enough toasted.
Jackfruit sandwiches?
Yes, sir. Here, there's some bread, guys. We'll keep it coming.
What are these dudes?
Dumplings, brother.
Dumplings.
It's just like mama's home cooking. It's just good food.
The food was delicious and healthy, just what we needed to fuel up and hit the field to check out the 2024 Emerald Cup winning strain.
So much gratitude to this crew for showing us a true sense of Mendocino grow culture and its role in the Emerald Triangle.
I am the Pheno hunter, up in the ganja zone. Find a keeper, then I find it, then I cut a clone. I'm looking for some resin, trying to see some weight.
It was time to hit the road and head southeast, out of the triangle and into the Emerald Dot.
Kind of what this place has been colloquially named is either they call it the mini triangle or they call it the Emerald Dot.
Grass Valley, California. The plan was to visit 2 farms, Wildleaf Farms and the Humboldt Seed Company's satellite farm. You see, the history of this region has close ties with the triangle.
It started in the 1960s with on Haight-Ashbury. The whole back to the land movement was really this exodus that happened in, I believe, after the summer of '69. And you had people that moved way deep into the forest. And you had this smaller group of people moved up into the North San Juan Ridge and started just an autonomous little group up there of hippies running around in the woods. There's communes around here. There's a lot of big spiritual element to this area. People that are about sustainable agriculture, about being good stewards to the land. It's always been a major focal point for this area. And with that has always come a little bit of ganja growing.
The first stop was Wildleaf Farms. This is a family-owned cannabis farm that has gained recognition for its commitment to quality and sustainable practices.
Get the boys to convince you to allow them to grow weed down here.
They convinced me, to do it. I didn't convince them. I just hope they can sell it for a profit. That's my hope.
Yeah.
So they can stay in business. This used to be a hay field back here.
Now it's just a dope field.
Obviously the grandparents, they didn't like it at all.
The way things changed so much, they weren't real privy to it. It went from hiding it and from only a couple people doing it and hush hush to price is dropping, it's time to grow more. And then once they seen what we're growing, they're like, it makes them uncomfortable at the amount that we had to grow.
They don't like the smell, that's the skunk smell to them, you smell like a skunk.
They weren't supporting it, but they weren't naysaying it, so to speak.
We had grown for 7 years or so before that first time they had ever seen a marijuana plant.
Yeah. So that's who we were raised as, our Christian grandparents on our mom's side, going to church every Sunday, and they were not for it, but our dad's side was a little bit on the opposite side of the fence, so that's where we kind of picked up some of the skills from.
Which one suits your smoke?
Yeah, so when you're looking through all these different phenos, you guys are probably looking at these plants all day, every day.
Oh, yeah.
What's the one thing that pops out to you the most? That's like, wow, I know that one. I need to take my time on that one.
Just catch your eye as you're walking by, you're working on the plants, and all of a sudden you'll hit one. It's like, wait a second, like what's that? Ones, for example, they're nice. There's tops all over the place. It's not super tall. It's a nice structure.
Great for farmers' perspective. Nice, beautiful tops, not super leafy. It's got color. Yeah, it's got purple all the way through there.
Yeah.
And it's, how hot is it out here? 110, you know?
Yeah, it's hot out.
Something like that. You know, I had a guy walk around earlier and gave me a dang thermometer so I can make fun of myself, and it says it's 101 out here right now.
Oh, yeah.
And we're throwing out purple.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
they all look like
Yeah.
they're just thriving.
So you would rather have something like way frostier than having like a bigger bud. Is that would that be fair to say?
right off, I in a sense.
Most impressive, however, is the orchard. 6,400 square feet of sun-grown trees, averaging 11 to 13 feet in height.
Sit down, pop a squat in the shade. Might be the only farm that we come to where you can get a shade break from the cannabis plants themselves.
All cultivated from feminized seed in cedar wood boxes. They run about 25 different cultivars each year, most of which are sourced from the Humboldt Seed Company.
With the sun at its peak, we headed out to the local swim spot to cool off and an amazing lunch setup to end the day. With this amazing journey coming to an end, we had one last farm to visit, and that's Ben's farm, the other half of the Humboldt.
I'll be blown away with this place. Like behind you guys. Well, no, thank you for coming in. The crowd's getting bigger, the food's getting ready. We're on Humboldt Farms. This is Ben's place. Beautiful, beautiful, unbelievable garden here, and the hospitality's been through the roof on this whole trip.
Yeah, I can reach 8 foot, so I don't know how far it is above 8 foot, but
pulling up to Ben's, you could tell right away that this place was something special.
And it's the size of my entire family, 3 times over. It's fucking huge.
Imagine a spot where everything a grower would ever want would be right at your fingertips. A dab bar, familiar faces from across the triangle, and even a disc golf setup tucked between the fields.
Ben is one of the breeders I most look up to after seeing his breeding initiatives in the Caribbean.
I know they're like babies.
Yeah.
You gotta like.
I have one right there.
Oh, which one? This one?
Yeah.
He's a type of breeder who is willing to take the time and energy needed to create genetics that work in specific climates.
You guys do all your breeding and genetics outdoors then? For when you guys for seed development and stuff like that?
Yeah, we do all of the initial crosses outdoors. We do breeding indoors as well. We do more of kind of micro breeding. So like selfing, or if it's like kind of a finicky strain or something that is like super specific, we'll do that in indoor environments over the winter. Generally, it keeps kind of keeps everybody going, and we get one more genetic step down the majority of the production happens in outdoor environments, in the ground, where kind of Mother Nature intended.
Talking to some of the guys at the other farms, they were saying that seeds that they grew from you guys that do the outdoor breeding like that, they just seem hardier and more resilient compared to some strains that they've tried from seeds that were bred indoors only. You think the environment probably plays a lot of factor in how those seeds develop and their resiliency later down?
There's a concept, and for a long time it was really controversial. It's called epigenetics and epigenetic drift or epigenetic influence. The plant, when it's subjected to different environments, will turn on and off different pathways within its genetics. So it'll migrate one way or another depending on its environment. So if it's a really hot, dry year, the seeds from that plant the next year will be resistant to hot and dry. If it's a really wet year and there's a lot of fungal influence that year, the seeds from those plants the next year will be more fungal resistant.
You guys are doing it in different regions too, even between the farms. You can tell the difference between.
Yeah, here we're blessed. It's a Mediterranean climate in this area. We can grow year round actually here. You can actually do a full winter rip outdoors in this area for like, the flower doesn't look the best, but you can do it for like hash extraction or whatever.
Wow.
There's a lot of people in this neighborhood that just planted their final crop of the year.
Really?
Yep. 8 years old, I germinated ganja seed, one ganja seed, put it in the woods behind my house, grew one little ganja plant that never got harvested. Back then you didn't really talk about it. I wouldn't say paranoid, I was just really like abundantly cautious about just like, hey, this is like something I do, this is a really big part of me, but it's not something I necessarily like project out into the world because, you know, back in the day, you get in a lot of trouble with it.
Now, Ben's farm is simple in setup, but seriously dialed in. Everything's spot on, thanks to him and his awesome crew, who's keeping things running perfectly here. I didn't see a plant that really was in rough shape. They were all taken care of here. But the highlight for me was seeing the Gazerpal with some freak show traits.
The smoke report's great. I mean, it smokes. It's not necessarily the strongest, but it's strong enough.
This is one I've been wanting to see in person for a long time. It's been on the bucket list.
So frosty.
Like 16 to 17% THC, I would say, in general.
The freak show has unmistakable shape. The leaves look freakish, almost like it's in camouflage. You couldn't see it if it was growing in the wild like this. It's such a unique strain, one that's always had a special place on my list.
So this is something Ben just taught me. These are what?
So this is Aztec tobacco.
Okay.
Aztec nicotina. And there's some old drawings, like stone engravings of people with these up their nose. And if you do it, you kind of get a little buzz.
After a quick nick hit, Eric Nugshot captured some beautiful bud shots. We seen where some seeds were made, and then it was time to extract that bud that we harvested earlier.
We get mad scientists in here.
What's this thing? I thought that was Eric Nugshot.
You gotta hit it like a bong, dude.
Wow, dude.
So yeah, it's called that's an essenciaire, and that's what's the last part of what separates it all out. But so all the nice flour that we collected earlier, you just pack it like a joint.
Yeah.
We have water in the bottom of this. You obviously have steam rising through the chamber, and you pack it just slightly, just to even out the pressure so that the water rises evenly through the whole column. Got it. Well, now it's heating up. Now's the time crunch, because we have steam pushing its way up through all this herb, and then it's gonna start coming out through this, and it goes up. What we're gonna do.
Whoa.
At Ben's place, you can really feel the magic of the triangle come alive.
Is we're gonna run water, ice cold water, through this line. It's gonna come up, spin around, and then come back out and come back out that line. So this is gonna be a big cold sink. So it's a recondenser. So the steam from the plant matter is gonna start rising up through this hole here. It's gonna hit the top inside of this and then be forced to just start condensing right here.
We're not just pulling flower here. We're preserving extracts and terpenes straight from the bud that we just harvested earlier this day. And the man behind it all, Ben.
You can see how clear these terps are. So a lot of times, like the older the weed is, the more yellow the terps will be, and you'll actually get like lipids, like fats from the plant that'll start to like collect in there.
Kind of coagulate.
Yeah, and you'll get these like snotty little things.
Okay.
That'll freeze out. Like once you freeze it, it'll go away.
He's the kind of legend that makes this place what it is. Ben's not only out testing genetics across the globe, but he's constantly pushing this plant forward.
The biggest application for us is to quantify terpene production, like within a strain. So if you're like breeding and you're trying to select which mom you're going to use the next year, you can literally just strip the whole plant down, or take this like one coach of really nice buds off of it, steam it right beside another plant, and actually quantify how much it's producing at the harvest point.
Oh, yeah.
And then you can look at it again after you dry it. And generally the one that's producing the most right at harvest is also the one that has the most in the bag.
Yeah.
He's the first to greet you.
Nice to meet you, man. Finally in person. How you doing, man? Yeah. Thank you so much.
And the last to let a question go unanswered.
I'm just stoked other people appreciate it, because when I first started doing this, everybody was like, what the fuck are you doing? You're putting like that whole plant, like that plant's worth $5,000
And he's there for every stop along this journey, from the vibes at the river to looking at Wildleaf's massive plants. Connecting these farms and the people who have built this culture from the ground up. But he's not alone. The crew can't say enough about all of these farmers. Nat, Ridgeline, Wildleaf, all in their own unique way.
Oh, smooth.
All with stories rooted deep in this land.
Together, we're stronger. Yeah, dude.
At Ridgeline, we saw the passion carved into every row.
You know, that's what we do as a small craft farm. We actually get to, you know, put our heart and soul into this.
Ridgeline Farms was great because Jason is so passionate, you know, he's...
Each plant a piece of history and resilience. Wildleaf with its sprawling field of dreams.
It's the type of place that you can immediately tell that there's a lot of love.
It was a reminder of a dedication and a grit that goes into every harvest.
It's those kind of stories and those kind of sacrifices that the world needs to know.
Johnny from Huckleberry Hill. This guy embodies loyalty and heart, and he's a true sign of character in this region.
I just really think it's important that the world knows where this multi-billion-dollar industry was created.
At Nat's place, it felt like stepping into a home away from home.
I'm gonna come visit you in the Maritime.
That is awesome.
Home-cooked meals, legendary strains, and his mountain man energy just made it all unforgettable. Mendo Dope Boys. I mean, the name says it all. Just pure dope.
Oh man, you could just draw some of my blood. You'll see I bleed green.
These guys are the real deal. Every single one of these legends. Carrying on the legacy of this legendary region with every plant. But the reality is tough. These farmers are up against forces trying to push them out.
It gets hard, but we gotta keep our heads up. We gotta stand our ground and just represent for the right reasons and the real people.
So next time you light up or you drop a seed, remember the names and faces behind these farms. They're the ones who gave us what we have today.
Yeah, I guess you guys can hang out for a little while.
Where do you want me to put that in there?
Yeah, thank you.
The true legends who need us more now than they ever have.
Even though we thought last year was going to be devastating for small farmers, this year is going to be the all-time worst for small farmers are going away.
Oh.
And that's a shame. That's too bad for the consumer that's going to be missing out on that amazing product. And
he's not wrong. The product out here is absolutely amazing. And it's clear that all these growers really want to share their passion with the world.
My God, dude. This is unreal.
And this trip taught me that firsthand. Really had to dig deep to get the hardships from these fellas, and they didn't want to talk about any of the struggle.
Try to uplift, educate, motivate, everything, and medicate.
But the truth is, they're facing some of the hardest years yet. And while they might not say it, it's the love for this plant and the community and the land that keeps these guys going.
I need to do it for the community. Same with Johnny. Like, we have to, the community depends. If we're done, they're going to be like, you're giving up on us.
But we're not giving up quite yet. That's where you come in. Follow their socials, share their content, and share their stories. Because these are some of the most genuine, hardworking people I've ever met in my entire life. And the weed speaks for itself. And they're all absolute legends.
Major thank you to AC Infinity for making this trip possible and helping spread the word of the legacy growers for all to hear.
Big fat joints, huge plants, many strains, and pheno hunting. Emerald Legends, a journey into the triangle. Let's go.
From windy roads to big mountains to tall, tall trees. Those are just some of the small things you're gonna see along this trip. But the major things are the big buds and the beautiful people. This is the Emerald Legends, a journey into the triangle.
This was more than just a documentary. This was a journey into one of the most mysterious, magical, mystical places on Earth. Emerald Legends, a journey into the triangle.
Big buds, great views, amazing people, Emerald Legends, journey into the triangle.
This is Emerald Legends, the journey into the triangle!
Freaking awesome, and just be able to link up with you guys again and have another fun adventure and story to share from our own perspectives. Like, I feel like we're all pretty fortunate with the community, and yeah, it's special. So I appreciate it. I love you guys.
So it's been fun this time, but when's the next trip?